Made in Hollywood.
The action comedy Thelma, starring Oscar nominee June Squibb, is made in Hollywood.
Well, he didn't really pitch it till after I had already decided that I wanted to do it. I got the script, and I loved the script, and I really knew I had to do it.
Made in Hollywood.
Also on today's show, David Duchovny writes, directs, and stars in the comedic drama Reverse the Curse.
It was trying to translate first the screenplay into a novel, and then the depth that I was able to bring to the novel, try to bring that back into the movie.
Plus, Lena Dunham goes back to her roots in the road trip comedy Treasure. We talk with McKenna Grace and Ernie Hudson about the Blu-ray release of Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, and Jennifer Esposito makes her feature film directorial debut with the crime drama Fresh Kills. This week on Made in Hollywood.
Made in Hollywood.
After being scammed, a feisty grandmother sets out to reclaim what was taken from her as Oscar nominee June Squibb stars in her first leading film role in the action comedy Thelma.
What's your plan for the day?
The usual. Hello?
Grandma,
Danny? You sound so strange.
I'm in jail.
Oh, my God.
It was a real scam call that my grandma received, very similar to the one in the movie, where someone was pretending to be me. And luckily in real life, we intervened before she actually sent the money. But that moment got me thinking about my grandma's, moment in life, living alone in her 90s, and imagining what if she had sent it and what if she had set out on her own to get it back.
Mail $10,000 to this address.
$10,000?
How did you think this was real?
Mom, you thought it was real too.
Oh my God, she was very convincing.
Well, she was scared, your mother. We were all scared. Well, he didn't really pitch it till after I had already decided that I wanted to do it. I got the script, and I loved the script, and I really knew I had to do it.
I think I just tried to not mess that call up. I was just trying to seem normal and dependable and like I'd be an okay partner.
What about my money? Am I supposed to just let them have it?
I'm gonna get it back.
I need a ride.
Yeah, I mean, June and I, we're really friends now. So we met before we started filming and got along quick. And we built a really beautiful company. So it was quite special.
She's a tough cookie.
When she sets her mind to something, there's no stopping her.
My grandson's parked a block away. I don't have much time.
You left your grandson in the car?
But he's 24. Well, I loved everything about the motor scooter. That was fun. That was fun to do.
Beginning of the shoot was very surreal because we were shooting in my grandma's real condo. And so it was like suddenly June and Fred and I were all in this space that I had grown up, watching movies in and hanging out in. And it was with these two, wonderful performers playing kind of versions of myself and my grandma in the spaces that we had spent time. So there was something very special about starting there and starting small and letting the movie kind of grow out of that.
An American journalist and her Holocaust surviving father embark on a road trip back to their family's homeland in the dramatic comedy Treasure, starring Lena Dunham and Stephen Fry.
Ruthie, I'm so glad to see you.
Dad, what happened?
There was problem with suitcase and nice man stick.
No, in New York at the airport.
I went to McDonald's for the hunger.
I think what I loved about the script was that it was so subtle in the way that it talked about incredibly serious issues.
Lily's book was, for me in Germany, a very new perspective because we are educated and we learn a lot about the Holocaust, but it's never connected to humor.
I could relate to it because I knew my grandfather, and sadly, he died when I was quite young, but he was a hilarious and charismatic character in the way that I saw Edek. It was beautifully realized in the novel, which I read after the script, of course. So this was a marvelous opportunity to do something different and personal.
What Jew goes to Poland as tourist?
You and Mom never talked about the past, so I wanted to see where you grew up.
First with Lena, it was so wonderfully easy. We just hit it off straight away. She's a warm and lovely person, and we just, meshed wonderfully.
I really honestly felt like he does such a heavy emotional lift in this movie that my job was just to be there, watch him, learn from him, and be the best scene partner to him I could.
If you want to see my old home, I'll show you the house.
Dad, what's wrong?
That teapot and even those cups belong to my mother.
This was my first time at Auschwitz. I had done a lot of reading to prepare, but I don't think any reading can truly prepare you for the experience of being there.
It was a close collaboration with the memorial people, and they stayed with us. They read the script carefully, had some remarks. We did the changes. They finally accepted us. They let you know. They say, no, you can't shoot inside. It's a graveyard. It's
the ashes
it's
of people.
It's still on the ground.
Cover the ground.
No one changed anything.
It's a profane place, but it's also a sacred place.
So it's like being there was really, really profound for all of us in different ways. And we were able to support each other through that experience because, while there was a lot of emotion, we also had to get through the, day-to-day work of making a movie.
At Mom's funeral, you said Mom wouldn't want us to cry. We didn't cry.
But you can cry if you want to.
Coming up, we look at the Blu-ray release of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire with McKenna Grace and Ernie Hudson. To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviephone.com. Find it, watch it.
It's been over half my life. 40 years Ghostbusters. I've been Winston Zedmore to people I meet on the street.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.
Now available on Blu-ray. The Spengler family returns to New York to defend their home from a second ice age in the comedy sequel Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, featuring McKenna Grace and Ernie Hudson.
For the first time in New York history, a room full of people froze to death in July.
It's an unimaginable evil with the power to kill by fear itself.
Like, literally scared to death?
I'm a massive fan of Ghostbusters, so getting to work with the original guys is always insane to me, getting to work and bust ghosts alongside the people you've been watching your entire life is weird. It's surreal, to say the least.
I was a fan since I was as young as I can remember and saw it for the first time. So yeah, that was such a cool experience, being able to be a part of a franchise that did shape me as like a kid and as an actor and as a person, really. That's what movies do, right?
It's been over half my life. 40 years Ghostbusters. I've been Winston Zedmore to people I meet on the street and everywhere. So it's kind of hard to separate me from the role. And the fact that it's still, current, that people still love it. Wherever I go in the world, there are Ghostbuster fans who show up and express to me how much the movie has meant to them and their families.
We might be looking at a second ice age.
We're gonna need all the help we can get.
Let's get to work.
Can I be of any help? Melnitz in uniform. Yes.
We got to work with the older guys a lot more than we did in Afterlife, because this go around they were there kind of throughout the entire production versus Afterlife they were just there for the final 2 weeks.
I didn't get to work with them a lot, but anytime that I could, obviously I just annoy them, poke at them and be like, just speak in front of me because I want to seep in your geniusness. Tell me a joke, something, let me bug you, Bill. Hi, Bill. Hey, Bill, can I bug you again? So yeah, no, it was really cool, and they're just the best.
Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, they come up with stuff that it just boggles the mind. So I love working with them. And Danny especially, who I think doesn't always get the credit. Danny's really good. He's a wonderful actor. He's very down to earth. He's there 100% completely.
I was so lucky because it was everything and just as cool as I or you would probably want it to be, So stepping into it was kind of surreal because I had expectations, but they're rarely fulfilled, and that was one of the experiences where it was totally fulfilled and more.
If there's something strange, if there's something weird, what are people gonna call?
Ghostbusters!
Ghostbusters. What do you want?
It doesn't feel real. I mean, even being like 5 years into the franchise and 2 films in, still doesn't feel right to be able to say like, yeah, I'm a Ghostbuster. Like, that doesn't sound right. You know, I feel like a fraud. I'm a fraud. Everybody's gonna find me out. I'm not a real Ghostbuster. Like, somebody's just gonna find out that I'm just a fangirl on set and they're gonna kick me out. You know, that's how it always feels.
Heads up. Tall, dark, and horny at 12 o'clock.
To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviephone.com. Find it, watch it. Up next, David Duchovny writes, directs, and stars in the dramatic comedy Reverse the Curse, and Jennifer Esposito makes her feature film directorial debut with the crime drama Fresh Kills.
It was trying to translate first the screenplay into a novel, and then the depth that I was able to bring to the novel, try to bring that back into the movie.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.
To keep his cancer-stricken father alive, a failed writer engineers a fake Boston Red Sox winning streak in the dramatic comedy Reverse the Curse from writer, director, and star David Duchovny.
Your father has declined any medical intervention. You didn't know.
Just found out recently.
When?
Very recently, like when you just said it.
I'll say that I first wrote it as a screenplay, then as a novel, and then I rewrote the screenplay after I wrote the novel. So it was a long process of figuring out that story.
How old are you, Teddy? 33.
There's something too old and too young about you at the same time, you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
It was trying to translate first the screenplay into a novel, and then the depth that I was able to bring to the novel, try to bring that back into the movie and still maintain the emotional power of it.
How long do you plan to stay?
Until one of us kills the other.
Mute.
You don't have to say the word mute, just pressing the button.
Mute.
So, on Tuesday.
I think a lot of times women can become an emotional bridge between emotionally stunted men. And I think instead of resisting that role in her life, she's embraced it wholeheartedly. And particularly for these 2 men who she falls in love with, both of them, I think, like in different kinds of ways.
I've looked back upon my life and thought that what I've done hasn't amounted to much. I see that I wasn't thinking about your mother and you, thinking about the socks.
Well, we deserve more from you.
The beauty of the movie is how the rug just gets pulled out from under you when it comes to death. And all your expectations and all the things you wanted to say, and yet you still are looking at a man who looks just like you and has the exact same DNA and also some of those horrible instincts.
There are a million ways to tell a life story. As a comedy, as a tragedy, as a fairy tale, where baseball teams keep you alive. He's trying to tell you his story in his way.
You know, a lot has to happen between Stephanie and Logan in a short amount of time, you know, because they've got this little rom-com happening in the midst of this, you know, dance of death that's going on. I found this line for Stephanie, which was, just because you get shot doesn't mean you have to die. And that really found, you know, the heart of her character, and in many ways the heart of the movie in that line.
Baseball defeats time. Only baseball has the possibility of going on forever.
A group of women struggle to break free from their New York Mafia family as Jennifer Esposito makes her feature film directorial debut with the crime drama Fresh Kills.
Everything I do is for the betterment of my girls. Don't you know that? Don't you trust me?
This is something that's been brewing since I was a kid. I grew up around families like this, and I remember seeing the young women that were my peers so violently angry, and it just stayed with me.
Fresh Kills is a story about a family in Staten Island, New York in the late 80s, early 90s that is involved in the mafia, but it's from the perspective of the 2 daughters.
Cohen, is Dad an honest man?
We clicked pretty fast and pretty well. It's my girl.
I love her.
It's funny because we didn't have too much like lead up as far as getting to see each other.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Zooms with Jennifer, our director, but we kind of met. We met in Staten Island.
I had many Zooms with them, of course, but we did not meet until we were on set together a few days before.
I've known Jennifer for a long time. I never worked with Dominic, but we're both New Yorkers, and the girls were just great. I felt like the bond was very strong very quickly.
He doesn't do things right all the time, but he does them for the right reasons. Our families came in with nothing. You're led to believe that things are fair here. They're not.
We did have a discussion, and I wanted to make sure that we weren't going to play some stereotypical Goomba kind of guy, that he's much more reserved, much more true to what I think most of these guys are. And, they're like chameleons. They're one way with their family and they're another way out in the street or in business, or they love their families, but at the same time, they hurt their families.
A certain point in your life, and you gotta accept that things aren't gonna work out the way you dreamt they were.
What's wrong with you? I'm trying to protect you!
You have to think on your feet, and I feel like I thrive in that arena of being thrown a curveball and like, how can we, redirect? I feel like if you're open to it, that's something, divine intervention sometimes, and you get to use creativity in a way that you're forced to, and sometimes you come up with the best stuff.
If you're an actor turned director, you know what you like and you know how you like to be worked with. So I feel like naturally you know how to do it.
Now when I see people who are writing, directing, and acting, that's very, very difficult. And she did such a great job. Her focus was laser.
When it came down to the work and explaining the scene, or she was very specific on what she needed. She very much made it a family. And on set, she carried it that way. I'm your father.
Hello and welcome to Movie Phone.
Thanks for joining us for Movie Phone, unscripted.
Can I get hired? I want to be Movie Phone guy.
If you have any medical issues, just call Movie Phone.
Stay tuned, there's more coming up on Made in Hollywood.
Made in Hollywood.
Thanks for watching Made in Hollywood, powered by Movie Phone. For more behind-the-screen content, check out MoviePhone.com.
Made in Hollywood.